Hey everyone. So for the 2021 Medicare for All Strategy Conference, we are using an online platform called Gather.Town. And this is going to let attendees socialize and network informally, sort of like you'd be able to at a real live in-person conference. And also we're going to have whiteboards integrated in Gather, so you can offer sort of insights and thoughts on conference strategy questions. So this is going to let us replicate a lot of the informal networking and socializing that we really worried we would miss out on with a 100% online conference. So I'm going to walk you through how we use Gather. So I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen here. And we're going to start off by going to bit.ly/M for A Gather. And that is going to take you to the conference Gather map. Now, if this is your first time using Gather, then you are going to have to allow the site to use your webcam and to use your microphone and your headset and all that good stuff. Okay. And then once you're happy with that, you put your name in this box up here. And I would encourage you to use your full name, first and last name, because other conference attendees are going to be able to find you on the map. And you may know folks from your state, from around the country, who are going to want to talk to you. But they won't be able to find you or recognize you if you don't have your full name in there. So I'm putting in Ben Day. Once I'm happy with my input information, I click Join the Gathering. And you can see that this drops us into the Gather map. If you want a tutorial, you can go through this whole thing. But for now, since we're going to walk you through it in this video, I'm just going to skip the tutorial. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to set up our Gather character. So you do that right down here next to your name, and you click you see this change character comes up. And basically, you can just change your little, it looks like a 2D, Super Mario Brothers video cartoon from the 80s. So you can change your character, you can change the shirt that you're wearing and the color scheme and all that stuff. I'm going to do some gender bending here and stick with this icon. And then you're going to be dropped somewhere randomly in the common. We have this whole conference map that you're going to get to know. The common is this big green grassy area in the middle. And you can move around by using the arrow keys on your keyboard. You can also use the WASD number characters, which also serve as left, right, up, and down. And in the middle of the common is a memorial fountain. And we'll talk a little bit about how to interact with objects. This is an interactive object, which you can tell by this little yellow icon in the middle. And you can see that press X for shared document pops up in the bottom of my screen when I walked near the fountain. You see when you walk away, it disappears, and when you get closer, it says press X. So pressing X actually takes me to a whiteboard. The memorial fountain is where we can kind of leave memories of those that we've lost in 2020. And in particular, we had two really beloved and just so impactful activists in the Medicare for All movement who we lost this past year, Don Beckler and Peg Nosek. So I'm going to be filling out my memories of them. And from there, we have a whole conference map. So in the north of the map up here, if you follow one of these two paths, you're going to find a bunch of meeting spaces. So that's the north wing is all for meetings. And then if you go to the east, this is going to be the games room. You can come here to play games by yourself or with other folks from the conference. The south wing is going to have all of the strategy questions, where we're all going to kind of pool our knowledge about what is working, what hasn't been working, what really unique challenges we're going to face in the coming 2021, how we can take the best advantage of them. And we're going to all sort of jointly contribute to this whiteboard that will help us sort of move into the next year strategically and smartly. And then in the west wing, all the way over here, we're going to have some educational videos and some resources that you can take away with you. So that's the layout of the whole map. So let's talk a little bit about interacting with objects. And I'm going to go down into the strategy question area to teach you that. So like we saw with the memorial fountain, when you get close enough to an interactive object, this shows up. It says press X for strategy whiteboard question. And when you press X on your keyboard, you can see you get taken into this whiteboard app. And again, there's an organizing question here. Organizing in 2020 was difficult without the ability to safely meet in groups, and we are likely to face continued restrictions for much of 2021. What are the most effective tactics and campaigns you have seen from our movement or others that are safe with distancing? So this is an organizing question. Now, if you want to contribute some thoughts on this, the best way to use this whiteboard is to use the post-it function. That's this sort of square with a little pulled up corner in the lower right-hand corner there. And if this screen is too small, you can use your mouse wheel to scroll out, or you can also use the plus and minus signs to zoom in and to zoom out. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to touch the post-it note icon here and decide where on the whiteboard I want to put my post-it. I'm just going to drop it right here in sort of lower left. And, I can throw in here, Zoom meetings with legislators have been effective. This is not the most insightful thing I'm going to say in this conference, but this is just kind of an example of how to do it. Then you can change the color code if you really want to. If you hate what you just wrote, you can hit the trash can and delete it. But if you like what you said, you can just kind of X off of the whiteboard, and now your post-it note has been added to this giant whiteboard. And in fact, this is a collaborative sort of open-ended project. Anyone can edit anyone else's post-it notes, but please don't do that. We're just going to have to respect one another's comments. Try not to cover other people's post-it notes with yours, and just spread out your comments. And at the end of the conference, we're going to compile everyone's thoughts and feedback from all of the different strategy whiteboards in Gather, and we're going to try and generate some takeaways from them going into 2021. So you just hit that X in the upper right corner when you're ready to X out of the whiteboard, and then you can move over to one of the other strategy questions. We have one here in the middle. I won't go through all of them here in this video, but you can see this one is about what outcomes in 2021 would mean that it was a successful year for our movement, so on and so forth. So we have 5 of those different questions that are here on this map. And you'll see there's some things you can walk through and some things you can't. You can't walk through the whiteboard. You can't walk through walls. You have to walk through these doors to get between the common and the open room. So let's switch from interacting with objects and how we get around the Gather map and talk about how we interact with other people. Well, you can see my coworker Stephanie is over there. But let's say I had no idea where she was in the map. Let's say I was, I was dropped in on the far side of the other map. Maybe there was 100 people logged in together and I had no idea where to find Stephanie. Well, there's a cool feature in Gather where you can go up to someone's name, click on their icon, and click locate on map. And it will create this line that literally walks you towards that person. Now, let's say there is a huge number of people here, not just Stephanie and myself. You can use the search function to find that person and then click on them and then do the start locating. Or you can just keep scrolling down until you find the person you're looking for. So now literally all I have to do is follow the yellow brick road. And then I keep walking over, and you'll see as soon as I get close to Stephanie, she appears in kind of a vague outline. And as I get closer, she solidifies. And if we both have our audio on, we can talk to each other literally just like in a Zoom meeting. You would talk to someone. And if there's 10 people clustered together, then you're going to have a Zoom meeting with 10 people. So it's a lot like a real conference where you can walk around and say hi to people. And also like in a conference, if somebody walks by you and their video appears, but they keep walking past, don't be offended. That's totally okay with Gather norms. And another thing is you'll see this as soon as people start appearing on your screen, whether there's just one or three or four of them, you'll have this little white button with down arrows. And if you want to stick around and talk to people, and you don't want to see so much of the map, but you want to see more of the people you're talking to, you click these down arrows and you see it'll expand, and you'll see yourself and you'll see all the people you're talking to in much bigger video boxes. I have my camera off right now because I'm talking into the Zoom recording to make this video, but normally I would also see my own video on there. Now, when you are done chatting with the people and you want to move on to somewhere else in the map, then you click the up arrows again, and it minimizes all those screens, and you can, get back to walking around. And I should also say, if you want to get rid of this locator purple line, the color will change. You click on their name and you can click stop locating here, or at the bottom, you'll see locating Stephanie Nakajima, stop locating. Click that and it disappears and you're back to normal. Okay, so one other thing to know about interacting with people is private spaces. And I'm just gonna message Stephanie quickly here. So all of the park benches in Gather are actually what are called private spaces. Now, normally if you walk within about 5 steps of someone else, they'll start to appear on your screen. You'll see their video and you can talk to them. But when people are in a private space, you can walk by them all you want and you will not see their audio or video. You have to be in the private space with them. So if I want to talk to Stephanie, I have to actually get on the park bench right next to her and suddenly I can talk to her. Now, this is really nice if you just want to have a one-on-one conversation with someone else at the conference and you don't want to be distracted or intruded on by other people. The two of you can go and sit on a park bench and it will just be the two of you talking. Almost all, this whole north wing of the conference is dedicated mostly to private spaces, but they're of different sizes. So for example, if I go to one of these sort of cafeteria style tables, I will only be able to talk to the people who are sitting around the table. That's a private space. If I walk into one of these areas with couches and chairs, I will only be able to talk to the other people who are sitting on these couches and chairs with me. And similarly with these larger spaces and tables and these kind of 4-person tables where you can gather around. So these are all places where you can have, small group meetings, large group meetings, and you don't have to worry that every single person who walks by in the hallway is going to appear on your screen and suddenly their video and audio is going to go on and it could be a little bit distracting. Also, we have these breakout rooms at the end of every wing. These breakout rooms are also private rooms, private spaces where only the people inside this room will see each other and talk to each other. And every single wing has 2 breakout rooms where you can do that. So I think we have covered pretty much all of the major features of how you use Gather. So, this is just designed to have, there's going to be an important role for these strategy questions. We hope that you will all go to the strategy question room, not only click on the whiteboard, but talk to the people who are standing around the same question and also filling out the whiteboard, and just, share your thoughts with them about what you think is going to bring our movement to the next level in this next year to, so we can really have a leap forward, sort of like we did a couple of years ago where we doubled the number of co-sponsors we have. What's it going to take to get us there? I hope that you'll leave some, loving memories at the memorial fountain. This is also just a great place to have fun. We've kind of scheduled these sessions on Gather in between workshops and in between plenaries. So it's a time to let loose. And after the last plenary on Sunday is kind of a happy hour on Gather. So you're welcome. I know it's going to be early in the day on the West Coast, but you're welcome to grab a drink and just hang out with your friends who maybe you haven't had a chance to see around the country in the Medicare for All movement just because of COVID. So thanks so much. I hope that you really all enjoy this platform. I think it's kind of cool in a very corny way. I'm really looking forward to being able to just kind of informally talk with all the folks in our movement and our organization. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the Gather map.